Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, finally returning to you for another album review. I am so sorry for this long delay for this Eminem album review that you guys have been waiting for the death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace, that I got a chance to listen to for this 19-track record, which is an hour and 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for this 64-minute and 30-second record for Death of Slim Shady, his new album. It's kind of the sequel to the Slim Shady LP from 1999. So I'll let you know my thoughts. It's kind of the closing chapter for the Death of Slim Shady, basically. So let's dive right into this album review. Now, it starts with Renaissance. And pretty much, it's pretty interesting intro track, but it's messed up for sure, I'll tell you that much. I don't know, this one was still pretty strong, and the lyrics were so fucked up, basically. So Eminem's really back at it with the messed up lyricism, but it works well with how this album's going off and all that. So 5 out of 5. Habits was the second song on the record, featuring White Gold, and it's a pretty good one too. I really dig this one. Eminem does some regular rapping in it, and it still executes pretty well for how it sounds, so pretty much enjoyed this one. 5 out of 5. Trouble was a fucked up interlude where he says, "Take this and blow your brains out," and all that shit, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like, yep, he's back at his old ways with his... He's basically killing off his own self in this album. He's canceling himself in this record, and it's like, wow. So, for the 12th studio album, it's interesting for sure. So, 5 out of 5 for this interlude. It's a skit. It's not long, but it goes into Brand New Dance, which I think Brand New Dance was pretty good, but messed up too with the lyricism. But it's still executed pretty well. So really dug how Eminem's freestyling and his rapping was going in this track. And execution-wise with the melody, it's kind of corny, but it works in its own way. So this is a strong 5 out of 5. Sorry about the background noise. My nephew's throwing a fit. Evil, I almost said All You Got. That's the 6th song on the record. That I'll get to in a second. So Evil is an interesting one. It's a little melodic, but lyrics are still messed up where he's saying some sadistic shit and all that. So it's pretty interesting, but it leaves me questioning, like, wow, he's trying to reference stuff from the 90s and 2000s with his lyricism then. But it works. So this is a 5 out of 5. All You Got was basically another skit that goes into the next track, Lucifer, which I think it's a 5 out of 5 still. Lucifer is a pretty good song. With the lyricism, he mentions Amber Heard and sleeping with her and all that, and then says slut. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, well, that sums it up, basically. So he's basically calling out a lot of people in this record. So it's like, what the fuck? I think the first half kind of introduces the actual Slim Shady, his persona, his kind of evil side to him. And then it goes into later on that he slows it down and talks about his new self afterwards. Like, he kills off his old persona to be reborn as a new person and all that. So it's interesting with the concept of this record. So pretty much Lucifer featuring Sly Piper was a good song. 5 out of 5. Then comes Antichrist. This one was a little cringy. I didn't hate this one, but even Bizarre still made the song still sound good with the outro to the song. It made it interesting, but it's a solid track. It just has its cringy points with Marshall. He's the Antichrist thing. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? So 4.5 out of 5. Fuel featuring Jid was a pretty good one. I like Jid's rapping in this one. Sounds really good. And I'm very well interested in this track. I'm like, holy crap, he's rapping a little fast. So I'm like, it's executing pretty well. So this is a 5 out of 5. Road Rage was an interesting one. It was pretty good, but wasn't one of my favorites. Dem Joints and Sly Piper were in this track. So Sly Piper is kind of a regular R&B artist, I think, but still good track. And 4.75 out of 5. Then comes Houdini. This one is not bad, but it's, I don't know. I haven't really grown attached to it as of lately. I don't know. This one isn't bad, but it's something at least. It was the first single. It was very popular when it came out on May 31st of this year. And I was interested, but I thought it was going to be a really good track. I kind of have changed my perspective on the rating. And I think it's a solid track, but it's not one of my favorites. So 4.5 out of 5. Breaking News skit goes into the next track, Guilty Conscience 2, which we will be talking about in a second. It's a 5 out of 5 for sure. I really dig this one. So, good track. Going into the next track, Guilty Conscience 2, which basically him and his alter ego, Slim Shady, are basically at a battle of whims and going to war with each other with how much trash talk they can say to each other. So there was some fucked up shit said in this song. And then at the end of the song, he calls up Paul and then he goes, fuck you. Basically. So he's done a lot of shit to this character, Paul, in this basic whole discography of Eminem's records. So Paul's kind of done with this shit. Basically. So it's all staged. It's all propaganda in a way, and still, I think they made it work with what they were staging with this record. So, but still, 5 out of 5 for Guilty Conscience 2. I was really digging this one. Head On Show featuring Ez Mill is a pretty good song too. I really like this one. Ez Mill did sound pretty good in this track. He was rapping in Spanish a bit, but it wasn't terrible, but still fine. So, 5 out of 5. Temporary featuring Skylar Grey was actually a really nice song. It was very emotional too, keep in mind. It was probably the most emotional track on this record. And I was really digging this track. And I was like, damn, this song could probably bring me to tears at least. Because it's really nice and beautiful of a song. And Skylar Grey sounds really good vocally in this track. And Eminem's rapping in it's pretty good. So 5 out of 5. Bad One featuring White Gold is not a terrible song. It's pretty good. Leads into the next track afterwards. But it's still a strong track for how it sounds. So 5 out of 5. Toby featuring Big Sean and Babytron was one of my favorite singles that I listened to that came out before this record came out, which this song came out 12 days ago as of now, but it came out 10 days before the official release of Death of Slim Shady, but I was really invested with this one. I really like the rapping in it. I really like Babytron's rapping. I like how the flow is sounding. It's making it interesting enough to listen through, but it's going into the last section of the album, the last few minutes of the album. But it's pretty good for how it sounds, so 5 out of 5. Guess Who's Back skit was a weird one. It's just a guy saying he's rubbing his nuts. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? It's like his another alter ego of Marshall Mathers, also known as Slim Shady. But apparently this is the death of Slim Shady, so his ego, his persona character is going to be killed off after this album, or was killed off. But still, I think he killed his character off at Guilty Conscience 2, from what I remember. So, yeah. There was a lot of messed up stuff happening with this record. But he took a shotgun and blew him away, basically. So, Guess Who's Back is getting a 4.75 out of 5 for this skit. Somebody Save Me, I think he's kind of using certain old tracks from this, sampling it to make it his own track. And I don't know if I like that. Sorry about the background noise. But I don't hate it. It's just iffy. But still, 4.75 out of 5. The track does work. But the sampling thing for taking a song, as long as he gets permission from it, that's all right. To put in his own song and rap about it, it's fine. But I don't know. This one is not a good outro, but fine. So, overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think The Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace is another pretty good record. I really enjoyed this album. I was very hyped to listen to this record. I've been wanting to review this album since yesterday. I haven't had the time to review it yesterday because I was dealing with some shit with the whole Phoenix Night V2 and all that crap. But aside from that, this still is a pretty good album from Eminem. I really enjoyed it. Good rap album. And overall, the songs I really enjoyed were majority of them. There was a lot that I enjoyed, and this is worth listening to for sure, and probably owning on CD too. So if I were to give this a score for Eminem's 12th studio album, The Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Still the same rating I gave Music to Be Murdered by, his 11th studio album. But it's still a strong record. I think most of Eminem's albums are pretty unique in its own way. There's some fucked up shit that he says in the albums, but it works with the execution. I mean, it just depends. There's some songs that work, some songs that don't. But overall, the only album I will say is not unique is Revival. That one was boring and shitty. That one I cannot give Eminem a pass for. But at least he redeemed himself with Kamikaze. So at least I'll give him props for that. And then so on and so forth. We're here now with the 12th studio album. And it's a pretty good one. So I really enjoyed it. And definitely recommend anyone that listens to this record to have an open mind to see what you think of this record. You don't have to agree with my opinion on it, but at least listen to it for yourself to see what you think of it. It is 64 and a half minutes, but it's an enjoyable listen in my opinion. So 8.5 out of 10 for Eminem, Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grace. Thanks for watching this lengthy album review this afternoon.